Just to let you know, this episode right here has 100% full spoilers. Let's go! What's up, everybody? This is indeed the E-Man, chilling like a villain, singing like Bob Dylan. Keep it on low with some double stuff. The Turtle Power Hour Part 3, because on the half shell, they're the heroes for. In this day and age, who can ask for more? The crime rate was high, but Muggins mysterious. So here I got a round table full of people, and you might recognize some. And there's a new person you probably recognize too from my previous podcast. And this gamer, she's a Tmnt super fan. She's a Twitch streamer and a YouTube content creator. She has been on a few episodes. Let's see, she was on the 1 Up Hour, which is episode number 33. She was on the TMNT Power Hour Part 1, which is episode 24, and she was on the TMNT Power Hour Part 2, which is episode 27. She's representing the West Side, which is considered the best side, and she comes all the way over there from the Lioness Den. I want to welcome Queen G to the show. What's up, Queen G?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me again. Wow. I feel like I'm kind of famous. This is like my 4th episode. I'm like big time now.
Right on. Thank you so much for joining us. Second person I got up, this is NYU grad, a good friend of mine. Also, he's been on episodes number 17, 33, 27, and 24. Currently, he has a children's book out right now called Sally the Salamander. And I want to welcome my boy, Exile, to the show. What's up, Exile?
What's good, bro? What's good? I didn't know you was going to mention the book, but that's cool. Yeah, appreciate it. Ready for the powwow.
The power.
Thanks for having me, brother. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, no problem. Anytime. Next up, I want to welcome this photographer. He's a rad dad. He's a friend of mine. He was on episodes number 24, 27, 33, 35, and 30. He has a production company called Tea Time Productions. And I want to welcome back to the show, Mr. Cowabunga Mike in the house. What's up, Mr. Cowabunga?
Hey, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me again.
Good to see you, brother, but not least. He's also a rad dad. He's a pizza connoisseur. And he was on episodes number 30, 26, and 35. Now, he is new to the Power Hour. And I just want to give a big welcome to my boy, the Beard God, Brookston, to the show. What's up, Brookston?
What's up, man? Thank you for having me.
Yes, and you have company, the young ones. Introduce the young ones.
Bring Samuel with us today.
Yes.
Just saw the movie. It's pretty fresh, and we're pretty excited to talk about it.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for coming on the show, man. I appreciate it. Recently, we lost somebody pretty big. We lost Paul Rubens, and he played, Pee Wee Herman. We also lost Angus Cloud, who was on the show Euphoria. And I want to give a quick moment of silence for those two people. Thank you. Appreciate that. Updates from you guys. Queen G, I know you've been on a few trips. I think you went to a Comic. Did you go to Comic-Con?
I did go to the San Diego Comic-Con. Yes.
Yeah. How was that?
It was an experience. It was ultimately a lot of fun. It was really cool. I've been trying to get to that Comic-Con for about 6 years. So I finally got a chance to go, but apparently with the writer's strike and changes from COVID, everyone was on the floor, and it was a bit much to be touched on by so many people at one time. It was a bit crowded. So that part wasn't the most fun, but I did get to meet a lot of cool businesses, CEOs. I went to the Ninja Turtle panel, which was cool. So we got to hear about all the upcoming stuff with The Last Ronin and everything else going on TMNT universe, and I got some goodies. So it was a really good trip, a bit much, but I'm looking forward to going back again next year and see how they adjust things. And with the writer's strike hopefully being over, it'll be back to what everyone says it's supposed to be.
Yeah, definitely. You know, as I mentioned in the beginning, Exile, you have a new children's book out called Sally the Salamander. And can you tell us about it? Just,
Yeah, man. I didn't know you were gonna mention it. Give me, I can go snag it really quickly so you'll have the visual.
Okay.
I just finished producing a children's book called Sally the Salamander. You know what? Because my black background is blurry, it's not even gonna let me do this, so I'm not gonna do that. Wow. There you go. So yeah, it's a book written by Valida Styles. And I helped produce the book. It's a small little storybook, right? And in the back, it's a coloring book.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so she's on Amazon for, I think, for like $12 or something. But yeah, that's the first children's book I've produced, and maybe I'll do a few more. But yeah, just got a good chance to put that on Amazon. So yeah,
congratulations,
appreciate
man.
that.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Thanks,
man. Brookston, you're like I know you're a pizza connoisseur, you know what I'm saying? Any new pizza discoveries you've had lately?
Nothing out of the ordinary. I recently had a chicken and waffle pizza that was pretty good. There was a local food truck that they kind of specialize in that kind of stuff, like just making stuff that you can't really get anywhere else. And they do a pretty good job. I mean, and that was the last memorable one that I had. It was a chicken and waffle pizza. It had like maple syrup, it had chicken, it had like a little bit of cheddar cheese, it had waffle pieces, and I was skeptical at first, but it was really good. It was actually really good.
That's funny because Michelangelo said something about that in the movie about chicken and waffles.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. Shane, I know that this is a big deal, Shane. Recently, your son just recently turned 2, right?
He's turning 2 in about 2 weeks from now, August 19th.
Nice.
So
nice.
But yeah, no, he's getting to that age where he's recognizing characters. Like he's really into Toy Story and he's really into Blue's Clues. But he shocked me the other day because I was putting on Turtles randomly, and he's like, "Oh yeah," and like he knows, and he loves the old '80s theme song. So like that's his favorite part of the show is just the opening because he loves to dance and get wild and crazy with it. So yeah, no, I kept thinking the whole time I was watching this movie, I'm like, I cannot wait to put this on replay for him over and over because I know he's gonna gravitate toward it. Like it's just it's just a matter of how soon they put it on at home release. But
yeah. And let's peep the shirt. Let me see the shirt. What you got?
Oh, well, yeah. A little old school.
I didn't see it. I'm sorry. Do it again.
Nope.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. You got a Donatello shirt on, right, Queen?
Always.
Yes.
Yo,
so,
I actually got a new shirt. I got a new shirt. Is this thing doing it again? I'm sorry.
It's a little
Give me 2
blurry.
seconds. I don't know what. Background's boring, but
that's smooth.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that is cool.
Really cool.
So I just got this one the other day, just for the podcast, actually. So
I appreciate it.
Boom.
Right on. Boom. Speaking of birthdays, this is a young lady who's gonna have a birthday coming up on August 7th, and it's Queen G. So happy birthday, Queen G! Yeah.
I was like, what young lady? Okay. Very mature.
You're gonna be 34, right?
I hope not, because the stuff that I was doing when I was 34, I'm too old to do it now.
Nice, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So let's talk about Mutant Mayhem. This movie is produced by Seth Rogen, has a bunch of people in there, including Jackie Chan, got Paul Rudd, you got Ice Cube, Seth Rogen himself is in it, John Cena's in it, and I seen it twice. And I just give my quick thoughts of it, man. I thought it was okay. I thought it was very cool. I thought there's a lot. I mean, the first time I seen it, I was like, okay, it's all right. But then the second time I watched, I started to craft these theories and like the possibilities. I'm like, oh, that could be really cool. So I really, really enjoyed it. I think I like I said, I seen it twice and I had a good time with it. So I just want to know you guys' overall thoughts of the movie. I want to start off with Queen G. What did you think of it?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much. I had no expectations at all. I didn't even purchase anything Mutant Mayhem, no shirts, no toys, no nothing, because I just didn't want to be heartbroken when I saw the movie. But after seeing the movie, I thought it was a good movie being its own movie. There were some things within the stories that they completely changed, like background with Splinter and stuff like that, which was off and a little different and something we're not used to. But at the end of the day, I enjoyed it very much. And I realized the other day, I think part of the reason why I might be a little bit way for the movie, just like it was good, is because Donatello had such a huge part in that movie. And he doesn't usually have, that many lines, or, he's just kind of like there, but he was so clutch in this movie that actually more that I talk about, it was a really good movie. It really was. It was great.
I know you were at first, you didn't really like the voice. You thought it was a little too squeaky. Did you change, did that kind of grow on you?
It did. About halfway through the movie, I was over it because he just kept getting cuter and cuter. And I was digging his personality. Like he was nerdy and dorky, but he was kind of cool, with the headphones and him spin his little bacon and cheese thing. So I was feeling him. I have to go back and send Micah Abbey like a full apology. Like I thought his voice fit well for Donatello in that particular movie.
Yeah. I really do like I like the fact they actually had teenagers playing the role. I thought that added a little coolness to it. What about you, Exile? What did you think of the movie?
Well, I guess I kind of agree with Queen G. Like it's a good movie for what it is. You know what I'm saying? This is a fantastic, I guess, jump off to for the kids, like now, you know what I'm saying? More so for like the kids, you know what I mean? Kids that would have loved to see a Turtles movie like this when I was 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? It's for the 10-year-olds now. You know what I'm saying? This movie it's a great film. I mean, one of the most fantastic things about this movie is the visuals. You know, it takes so many risks with its visuals and everything. And I'm pretty sure they did a scene. I don't even remember the scene that the Trolls were like running through all these like enemies, and they kept switching it from Donatello.
The no diggity segment. I mean?
Yeah, so it's
the no diggity
like,
segment.
So it's like, I know that was taken from a film called Old Boy, and it's the hallway scene, and it's like they reinvented the hallway scene from Old Boy for Turtles. You know what I'm saying? And I think, I mean, for me, that's what I saw. You know?
Okay. I never seen Old Boy.
Okay. It's a good film, but it's like I basically saw Seth Rogen taking liberties and taking chances with this movie, and I'm really glad that he did because they paid off. You know what I mean? It's kind of a standalone Turtles film. There really isn't a Turtle film of its kind, you know. But I mean that's just kind of I guess the beginning gist of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember a villain named Superfly ever. You know what I mean in the Turtle universe. So I guess the possibility of introducing brand new villains is also, you know, kind of just I guess that door kind of has been opened. You know what I mean? With this rendition of Turtles, also is that if Seth Rogen wants to, he can be like, boom, we're gonna change this villain, and you know he's gonna be like this instead of this. So yeah, it's a creative marvel. I will say that.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Ice Cube doing the voice of Superfly. I didn't because it does take like it takes a different approach to acting when it comes to voice acting. You know what I mean? It does not everybody can do it, and I thought he did a really good job. Oh, Shane, what did you think of the movie?
Overall, I liked it. It's better than TMNT. I definitely would rank it better than the Michael Bay adaptations as well. Because I think it really does get back to it being it's for kids. Agreeing with Exile. I mean, this was definitely made for the 10-year-olds and such who are out in their backyards picking up sticks, making bow staves and swords. I mean, that's that's what I would have done the moment I came out of theaters and went home and played Ninja Turtles. But I think some of the choices that were made were choices. They were choices. The background story was a little not it wasn't as satisfying as I wanted it to be. Even you said you think that there's something Splinter might be hiding or some holes in his story. I definitely agree that he had that weird thing about how they remain babies, but he was an old man and he said he was in his 20s. I'm like, okay, so I don't know if that has something to do with what's to play out in the future. I'm excited about the new show that they've got that's going to bridge part 1 and 2. The fact that they've already announced it, I'm just like, okay, cool. There were choices that were made. I watching the trailers, I saw the whole movie. I hate to say it. I mean, I was hoping I would go into this movie thinking that they maybe like dressed up the trailer to think I was seeing something and it was entirely different, because there's some movies that surprise you like that. But I saw in the trailer the kaiju fly thing, at the end. I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely the third act of the film. That was a choice that was made as well. That weird monstrosity, that Ice Cube became with the whale and the horses. It started getting a little weird. Bebop and Rocksteady, I like them, but somehow, again, they're not taking on their villainous roles per se. I like how they kind of set up the mutanimals, or what I think is going to be, possibly mutanimals. But Bebop and Rocksteady seem to be kind of out of place. I don't know if it'll be something where they just don't fit in later on down the road, because it just seems very out of character that they're, friends with the Turtles and they're all living together. I mean, like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that part of the movie was totally not okay. Like,
okay,
I do not like Rocksteady.
It's not just me. It's
hanging out with Donatello. Like that's not cool.
It was kind of weird. And the thing is, for such iconic characters, he put them in the film. And they really didn't have much character development. I mean, like, I had to kind of like lean in to hear what Bebop and Rocksteady were even saying sometimes, because it was just so quick during action sequences. It really didn't. I mean, I didn't feel like they were the characters that I was wanting to see. They look great. But I thought the chemistry between the two in the Michael Bay was better than what we saw out of them in this film. And then the thing with Splinter and Scumbug. Well, you know, it's funny. I don't know. I don't know. Again, but no. I mean, I like how he explored the teenage aspect of him. I mean, he was constantly saying that whenever he was discussing the movie, how he really wanted to explore it. At no point did I feel like they weren't teenagers. They were definitely the way they kind of synchronized with their banter and stuff back and forth. That was great. I noticed that it's like they took a little bit from every adaptation of Turtles and put it into this. And I say that because Raphael kept the Michael Bay bandana thing. One of the Turtles had a crush on him on April, but it wasn't Donatello, it was Leonardo this time. It's like
what the hell was that?
Yeah, I mean, we've explored that before, and again, I just whatever. I liked April. I really liked April too. At no
me
point
too. I liked her a lot.
I mean, she had a lot of charisma, and just I liked her approach. It's just, again, there were certain, Baxter Stockman. I honestly didn't I thought he was just knocked out in that explosion, and I'm still kind of up to interpret that maybe he's not dead. So they did carry away his body, but as of right now, he's supposed to be dead. I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but okay, one last thing, and then the thing with the Shredder at the mid credit, it seems like Cynthia Utrom is probably an Utrom alien, I'm guessing, and Shredder that's how he has his connection with, but it seems like he's a headhunter for them. So I'm just curious how he's gonna fit into this and how the Foot's gonna fit into it. We'll see. I mean maybe that show will explain it too. So
Okay. Brookston, what are your thoughts on the movie?
Okay, so going into this movie, it's just from the trailers and everything, I kind of viewed it in terms of an Elseworlds movie. Because if I frame it that way, I can basically accept whatever happens for that particular movie. And I won't be so hung up on the canon stuff. And that's kind of how I went into this. And I was pleasantly surprised. I really love the voice acting, and I'm a stickler for story and how characters connect. And it was really interesting for me seeing the new dynamic with Bebop and Rocksteady and all the other animals, because we've never seen that before. And I'm like, okay, they're breaking some new ground. They're experimenting with some different things, which I don't mind, because like I said, I view it kind of as an Elseworlds movie. So in this particular iteration, I'm able to be more accepting of things that typically I'm not. I wouldn't allow. But can we talk about the no diggity scene?
Yes.
Let's get it.
That was, to me, that was the best part of the movie. After that, I could have gotten up with a smile on my face if the movie, if the reel was burnt, destroyed, or whatever, we had to leave the theater, I wouldn't even care. Because that no diggity scene was, I loved it. I loved it. The different angles, like Jeremy was talking about, how they, that was great. That was great.
Yeah.
And a different turtle took charge every time. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I mean, it was, the whole sequence was just the music, the choreography of how they moved, and then the cinematography, the way the camera moved. Chef's kiss. Good stuff.
And I really like how they gave a lot of screen time. They allowed for the characters to develop. You got to see the different aspects of the personalities and how they interacted with each other and all that good stuff. And Queen G was saying, Donnie had some good parts. He had some. It's more of what we normally see. And it's kind of ironic because Donatello's my son's favorite turtle as well.
And
nice.
Yes.
So of course he was like, yeah, like I'm digging this because I mean Donatello's like definitely getting some play in this movie, and I love April. I love this iteration of April. She's still got that like tenacious, inquisitive, like it feels it's a different April, but she has some of the same, you know what I'm saying, from what we know.
Right.
She has some of that same essence, and I can really appreciate that. The voice acting, I really like the voice acting. I think Paul Rudd in particular did a really good job.
Yeah.
Because sometimes in voice acting, sometimes they'll voice themselves or just talk, but other times they'll kind of create a voice to kind of go with that character.
Right.
And that's kind of, and Paul, I really think he did that seamlessly. Like he really kind of came into Mondo Gecko, and to a point where I like at some point I forgot that was Paul Rudd, and I really enjoyed like, because I mean when you're voice acting, you can really see the kind of effort that the voice actor puts into bringing that character to life.
Right.
And I think, you know, Paul Rudd, among some others, like he really kind of threw himself into the part, which I can really appreciate. There were some parts, you know, some questionable parts, like the whole scumbug, that was detestable. Yeah, I didn't like that at all. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I literally look. This was a children's movie, and I had to turn my head. And I was not expecting that. I was not ready. I was not ready.
Well, love was in the air, boy. See, I don't hate Leonardo. I don't hate Leonardo for loving. Oh, I'm sorry. You go ahead.
No, I was like, I could understand if it was Wingnut because it would have been a flying rat, but the scumbug thing, it made no sense, and it was just it's like they wanted to go the gross factor and like, and going with the voice acting too. There were times where Rose Byrne and Wingnut, like I was getting confused on who was talking because one of them had the really strong English accent or Cockney accent, and the other one had the really strong Australian accent, and it was almost interchangeable. Where I was like, which one's talking? I can't really peg personality out of these two because when there's all this stuff going on, but yeah.
I must admit, I really do like the iterations of these current characters, like the female version of Leatherhead, and because I mean, Leatherhead is like one of the most dangerous. Like he's trying to kill, he's trying to bite, like he's extremely dangerous. To see Leatherhead in a situation where the turtles are like collaborating and being friendly, like it's a total departure, but it's one that I'm okay with. Like I'm okay with seeing that for the time being. Now, who knows? Something could happen and it could cause a rift, and people could resume their villainous roles like Bebop and Rocksteady. But I honestly appreciated the difference of like just the camaraderie with the traditional enemies or whatnot. Because honestly, I don't really think it's gonna last. I think once Shredder gets on the scene, there might be some shifts in allegiances.
Yeah.
I really did like the fact that Shredder was mentioned, and we did see a silhouette of Shredder. That definitely gave me hope that this could be a lot more than what it is now and what it turned into be. Because honestly, the big monster at the end, like that, I didn't like that. Yeah, I think like Shane was saying, I think it could have been a lot better. I like how everyone worked together. I like how, even the New Yorkers stood up to the plate and all that good stuff. I like the collaboration at the end. But as far as like the actual monster or the actual big bad at the end, I think it's a little over the top. I can't say too much because I couldn't have written it any better. But still, I enjoyed it for what it was worth. I took all the good parts, and there weren't that many bad parts for me. And it's really genuinely got me wanting. It was good enough to make me want to see the series that Shane was talking about that bridges the two. And my kids are definitely excited to see that and the second movie. So, I'd say if you gave it a numerical scale, I would give it a 7.
Okay. Right on. The Shane had said this earlier, but like when we watched it together, I came up with the idea of like I don't believe that Splinter's being 100% honest as far as like the origin of the turtles or as far as his origin himself. I believe that he's human. He is like kind of going by the cartoon origin where he's actually Hamato Yoshi. He hung out with a bunch of rats. He touched the turtles and then like he became a rat. And I think that that's what I think it is, because I think how else are you going to connect Shredder or Orokusaki and Hamato Yoshi? You know what I'm saying? I really feel like he's not being 100% honest. And I think that'll be cool because like that'll be kind of a conflict between the turtles and Splinter. Like, wow, you've been lying to us this whole time about not wanting that humans are bad and you've been human the whole, you know what I'm saying? I think that's what's going on. I mean, what are some of the theories you guys have?
This version of Splinter was probably the most sus one that I've seen so far.
Yeah.
I was, I would not be surprised if he definitely had some secrets, if he wasn't being on the up and up, like, because he just seemed a little weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's different from any other version that I've seen thus far. And I think he's going to be, plot point for some changes coming up in the series and the movie and the next movie. That's my opinion.
And plus, he's voiced by Jackie Chan, so like he has some, you know what I mean?
No, this because that's actually something that I was gonna speak on. Just like his origin story says that he was just a New York rat, literally, right. and that's it. He just was like, yo, I was a rat in New York, and then bam, I fell into a sewer and seen the four of y'all, and here I am now. You know what I'm saying? But Jackie Chan's a man from Hong Kong. He's being voiced, you know what I'm saying? But he's a New York rat, right? So there's some kind of something happening. And I don't put it past Seth Rogen to completely, I guess, disregard the relationship between Orokusaki and Hamato Yoshi. I don't put it past him. He might very well just glaze over it and say, hey, you know what? This is actually the story, and Shredder's just some dude that wants to take over New York. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't put that past Seth Rogen at all, because I mean, when you go as far as changing genders of characters, Wingnut's female, you know what I'm saying, Leatherhead's a female, and now Bebop and Rocksteady are good guys. You know, there's a whole bunch of flips going on, so I don't really know what to expect, but I don't think that Splinter is lying about his origin. I don't think he's lying at all. I think he's telling the truth.
I agree. I think he is telling the truth with the scene with him feeling so lonely and dependent on the turtles to be around for him to feel full. It was hard for me to have a Splinter that was, kind of like a loser. And I don't think that he's lying about his story. And I would not be surprised if Shredder has nothing to do with Splinter. They have no relationship at all. There is no Hamato Yoshi or Rokusaki. There's none of that. Like, I feel like Seth is taking bits and pieces of the history that we know, but putting something together that's just completely different and off the wall. And people are saying, well, this generation of turtles is for the newer generation of turtles, and this is their own story. Like, this doesn't have shit to do with us.
This movie was not for us. It was for the kids.
So okay, how would you rank it? As far as the turtle movies is concerned, like my ranking goes like this: 1990 Ninja Turtles movies #1, Secret of the Ooze #2, Netflix Rise of the TMNT #3, Mutant Mayhem #4, 2007 TMNT #5, and then #6 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Part 3, which came out in 1993. I don't even consider the Michael Bay films. Trash. But yeah, how would you rate this movie, Queen G?
I I honestly feel it's like apples and oranges. I can't even put it in the same category with the other movies. In fact, I was recently offended. Rotten Tomatoes gave Mutant Mayhem like a 97%, which is great. But they gave the original Ninja Turtle movie like a 41. And I was like, you can't give them a 41 because that was freaking awesome when it came out. You know, like today, okay, but I don't like comparing this generation of Ninja Turtles to what we grew up on, because there's just so much history and emotion and all this kind of stuff that's tied into these movies. And this is just like entertainment and a movie that's good that we just haven't had in a while, but it's nothing. It's nothing that we've ever had before. So I can't even put it in the same category with legendary movies. Legendary.
Well, what about you, Exile? Would you rank it or no?
Oh, I mean, it's difficult. It's very hard because I'm taking into consideration like everything. It's almost if this movie doesn't feel canon. You know what I'm saying? It feels like this is
an Elseworlds movie.
Yeah. It doesn't, right. It feels like a dream match. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't feel like this is actually a Turtles movie that's supposed to be taken seriously in the zeitgeist of Turtles films. You know what I'm saying? But if I had to rank the film,
or even the animated ones, that's like exclude the live action stuff that's classic. What about animated wise? Between TMNT 2007,
TMNT,
Netflix Rise of TMNT, and this.
I would rate it number one. I would give
it's the best out of the three.
I'm not a fan of Rise, and Donatello was non-existent in TMNT. So it's number one for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Exile.
Yeah, I agree with that. It was the best out of the three. I was going to say the best out of the three. But I really like Rise. If I had this as number one, Rise is definitely second. TMNT, TMNT, I guess. The 2007 TMNT, I've seen that movie so many times, and it's like I can't get over it because it's just this dude. I forgot the guy's name.
Yeah.
I mean, the villain just he did nothing for me. He did nothing for me. Nothing. So the best thing about that movie was Raphael and Leonardo.
Yeah, the fight.
Agreed.
What about you, Shane?
I mean, it's in my top 5. Don't ask me to order them, but it's in my top 5. Number one's obviously, the first live action. But I mean, I like it. And Michael Bay's films aren't even on my top 5, so it's there. I mean, I like I said, I don't agree with all the choices. I will say this. You keep saying like Elseworld. I kind of look at it. No, it's a micro series. It's one of those micro series offside comics that they do. So we'll just we'll take it as that. But like what it was is the characters feel so familiar because when you look at the detail of them, there were little things that reminded me of the action figures I had when I was a kid. It's like he took the action figures, not necessarily to say the comic book portrayals of them or the cartoon portrayal, but it's like, because there was one little detail with Mondo Gecko that really stood out with me. Whenever he is hanging off the back of the truck in one of the action sequences, he has a roller skate on his tail that catches the road so that and the toy had that. And I remember that as a kid. And I remember looking at you, E-Man, and be like, he's got the roller skate. So like, it's almost like he took a lot of inspiration for the character designs from the toys. Because here's the thing, I remember my Bebop toy had like mom like carved into his like arm and stuff, and that's not necessarily was in the cartoon. You didn't see that. So there's like details like that because I mean, I know that this Bebop had a nipple piercing or something, right? So, something like that. So I was like, okay, so like it reminds me more of like the action figures that we grew up with, and he's brought them to life in some interpretive form. So I like seeing this movie was like hanging out with my old friends, but in a surreal kind of lucid. It was like a lucid dream of hey, I remember you guys, and I remember what it was like thinking you guys were my entire world. So I guess I was again. I'm watching this, and I'm like, my son's really gonna appreciate this. He's gonna take out of this what his little mind and his fresh eyes are gonna see and stuff. So it's kind of one of those things, and I'm not gonna be biased and get in the way of that. But I mean, of course, I am gonna show him the old stuff, the classics, and try to skip over Rise. And I won't even bother with it. Like I'll wait till he's a certain age before I was like, if you want to check out the Michael Bay ones, go for it, kid. And report back to me. Tell me what you think. But but no. I like. Here's the thing. I remember the mutants did get kind of crazy. You remember some of the like some of the really random off the wall mutants. Remember the Canadian moose mutant and stuff they had. Like they got really off the wall. I mean, they were
wasn't that Monty? Wasn't he Monty the Moose? Something like that.
I remember. Do you remember they had the Dalmatian fireman mutant?
Yes, the Spot.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying. So it's like okay, as far as the weird and wackiness, I mean, Seth Rogen. I was surprised with Scumbug. And Scumbug looked the most like what I remember the toy looking like. I mean, he, she, whatever. Yeah, but yeah, no, it was kind of one of those things where I was like, I was surprised to see him, and I was surprised to see Wingnut because they didn't really market Wingnut as much. They marketed Ray Fillet and Post Malone, which that's the thing too. Is I will say this: the voice acting, you can tell it's all Seth Rogen's friends. He's like, hey guys, I'm making a turtle film. You want to be in it?
Right.
It's like they all just like kind of drew cards out of a hat. But I mean, but it didn't hurt it. It didn't.
I thought that was weird though, that he did bring these characters back that we typically don't see, like Wingnut and but Ray Fillet, his character has always been very strong and he's very competent. All the figures that are made of him when he's in the comics and the Archie comics, he is a very confident, strong he was a man first before he was mutated. And then in this movie, he just looked like a blob, and all he did was sing his name. I was like, what are we doing?
That's Again, choices were made.
I was like, really, Ray?
Was Ray Fillet not the leader of the Mutanimals at one point? Or
yes.
He was.
He was.
And now he's just singing his name. That's all he's doing.
He did it like multiple times throughout the whole movie. I was like, wow, this is his thing. Okay.
While he was getting hit, Ray Fillet.
Well, what's your ranking, B? Well, how would you rank this?
Really hard. It's really hard for me because, like I said, I see it as an Elseworlds, thing. So it's kind of offered its own space. I enjoyed it for what it was worth. But as far as ranking, I mean, I think anything's better than the Michael Bay films. I just watched those movies just out of obligation. Like, okay, it's Turtles. I got to see it. I got to see what if they do anything, if they do justice to the Turtles or whatever. And I've never seen them again, so I don't really count them at all. But I would probably rank it. I don't know, maybe somewhere in the middle of just all the movies and animated adaptations, mostly because I'm more comfortable with the stuff that we've seen before. And this is just kind of my age showing and my personal bias. But what kind of brings it in the middle is the fact that I can share this with my children. That this is something like that's for them. And anytime a different movie comes out, like just as a father, I'm looking at stuff and wondering like, okay, like, can I can I view this with my children? Like, is this cool? Is this, and this is something that we can definitely share. And it's, and they like it too. So it's just, things are a little different. Some of the changes I don't like, but I don't have to like every single change. But as far as like the heart of the film, I mean, at its core, it's still Turtles. It's not something completely off the wall that you can't, man, this isn't Turtles. This isn't a Turtles film. I mean, it's definitely something I can share with my kids. And I liked it enough to sit down and enjoy it myself. It wasn't something that I sat down like, I'm just going because my kids want to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're all in there, like, we're all laughing at the stuff. We're all enjoying the action sequences. We're all enjoying like the music and the cinematography and all that good stuff. So, yeah, my son, what'd you say?
The soundtrack was top tier.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. Tribe Called Quest. Oh man, Samuel,
they had some bangers in there, man.
Yeah. Samuel, what did you think of it all overall?
Overall, first of all, the art style, I loved it. I'm a Donnie fan, so I enjoyed that he got more time in the movie. I like the new take on, Splinter's backstory and how it's a little different for me, but I didn't grow up with the same stuff as my dad. So it was a nice deviation, but overall, I think the introduction to Superfly and Ice Cube was nice, and Leatherhead has a gun, which that's at least Splinter's happy with Scumbug. I'm still not sure how to feel about that, but yeah, good for him.
Right on, brother. Wow, I can't believe how fast he's grown. It's crazy.
I find that really interesting that everyone here agrees that this is a Nickelodeon film, right? This is good enough for adults and good enough for children. I have heard several people state that they felt this movie was inappropriate for children. They thought that Superfly said, "What the hell," too much, and "damn." And the beginning of the movie gives a bad message to children that stealing is okay. Nobody.
That it, no. I thought they were going to leave some money in the corner or something like that, but they didn't do that.
Didn't see
it. Wow. I thought was really interesting. This is something totally different. I thought it was kind of, the art style was cool, but the way that the humans, some of the way the humans were drawn, they look kind of distorted. You know what I'm saying? It reminds me a lot of Kill Bill
painting.
Volume 1. Huh?
A Picasso painting.
Yeah, Picasso painting.
They were like all in, like, especially since the Utrom.
Yeah, and some of the villains look really distorted. It reminds me a lot of like in Kill Bill Volume 1. There's like this Orishi Ren origin story.
Yeah,
and the way that some of the characters are depicted, they look kind of twisted and distorted. And it reminded me a lot of that, which I love that movie.
The way,
okay, what were you about to say?
No, I was gonna say, like, this when we saw the opening of the Baxter Stockman segment and stuff, just in that first 5 minutes, like, my brain was doing a thing with how the camera was moving through that animation, and my brain hasn't done that since Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse come out. And you know what I'm talking about, where it's like, how is my the way you're visually receiving what they're putting on the screen? Because with Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, they skip frame rates, and that's how they kind of give that weird aesthetic look. But whenever it's pulling out and the camera's swooping around in that Baxter Stockman hideout scene, I could, seeing all the rough pencil stroke lines and stuff in the the atmosphere and just on the characters, that was, like I said, it was doing something to my brain that had to get it to catch up. I'm like, okay, hold on, you need to, it kind of reminds me when I saw a 240 hertz TV for the first time, and everything's moving weird and fluid, and you're like, oh, it's because the frame rate's kind of fast and stuff. But
Right,
that's what it
right.
was. That's what it was doing to me the first 5 to 10 minutes, and I was really enjoying it. But it's just like I haven't seen an animation style do that again since Spider-Man. So
I just want to know before you guys go, like, there is a writer strike going on right now, writers and actors, and because of that reason, a lot of things have gotten delayed, like the third Spider-Verse movie has gotten delayed, and a few other things. I just want to know your overall quick thoughts about the strike. I think it's very necessary. You know what I'm saying? I think the higher ups need to kind of wake up and smell the coffee and pay people what they need to get paid. And that's the bottom line. I want to know your thoughts of the writers strike and the actor strike right now.
I'll be the first to speak out on that. Pay them what they're worth, and I think that this stand is pivotal because, it sets a precedent because we're living in a time where things are costing a lot more, but the wages aren't going up. And if they can succeed in this, then like I said, that sets a precedent for the blue collar worker and the average worker and, the unions that exist to do the same thing and be like, hey, look, pay us what we're worth, because if they continue to lowball and not pay them what they're worth, then it sets a really bad precedent everywhere else. And I'm hoping that, because you got to think of all the millions that these companies generate off of the work of these actors and writers, and just give them their piece of the pie. Stop being greedy. Let's get back to business and pay people what they're worth. People are worth, pay them for their work. So
we all deserve to eat.
Right. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Exile?
Yeah, well, you're right. I was saying that Brookston pretty much laid it out. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate the actors and the writer strike because acting is something that I've wanted to, do in my lifetime. It's something that I aspire to do is to act. And so I would like to know that acting can generate a livable wage. You know what I mean? If you do something that you enjoy and you can have a life from it, then that's what needs to happen. Because like Brookston said, these production companies generate millions of dollars on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? There should be no reason why anybody who's acting in these said films who are pulling in this kind of revenue, why they shouldn't be able to have a living wage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Do what you gotta do.
And just in case people out there are listening and think, oh well, those guys that those A-list actors, they're millionaires and they'll be okay. That's a very small percentage. Matter of fact, I remember Viola Davis said something, and this is way before the strike. It's like those A-listers that you see, that's a very small percentage. You got people who are barely getting by. You got people who don't even have insurance. You know what I'm saying? So pay the people what they're worth, man. And it's ridiculous. What about you, Queen G? What are your thoughts about the whole strike?
I agree with what everyone is saying. I was not, educated and privy up to everything that goes on, but it sounds about accurate. And I think it's fair that they hold off until they get paid something where they can pay their bills. I think it's crazy that these writers are writing this type of material and don't have anything to show for it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. Freaking nuts. Well, what about you, Shane?
No, I totally agree with what they're doing. I'm aware also that everybody does associate the actors with your Tom Cruises and your Harrison Fords and your Tom Hanks, and not realizing that no, we're talking about your walk-on actors on Law and Order and the CSIs and the whatever that you love binge watching and stuff. Like those shows too. Those are the same kind of actors that are on strike as well because they're not getting paid enough. I think the big threat to this whole thing is what these AI programs are doing. Because what they're doing is they're trying to compensate the lack of writers to get and using AI programs to write these television scripts. I don't know how many television scripts have been written by AI, but there are a few number of them already. And it's just and that's the big threat to them too, is that they're cutting out the writers as the source of their material altogether because you don't have to pay an AI program. And the fact that they are also thinking, well, I mean, they're not thinking about it. They're trying to implement, AI facial scans for backup actors. Like, you're just your background people who fill stadiums and stuff like that in sports scenes. Like they're just paying them one time and then putting them into the film forever and ever, and taking a lot of work and food out of people's mouths and stuff. And it's just one of those things. Like I think they are killing the entertainment industry, because at what point when you have all these AI programs writing these scripts, or for that matter, the way they're deep faking actors and stuff, like at what point do you take the emotion and the craft out of it? Like, how can you even have have Academy Awards, in which are a sham anyway? Like, how can you recognize good writing and when it's being generated at the click of so it's just kind of like to me that bothers me, and I think these actors and writers have a lot more to be fighting for than just their wages. I mean, they definitely need to they need to take lawyers in there, and they also need to set regulations to the morality of some of these programs that are taking their work from them.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, honestly, I don't see myself watching any show written by AI. You know what I'm saying? Because to be completely honest with what you're saying, Cowabunga Mike, is kind of like where's you watch the film because you kind of want to see a human element to the writing. You understand what I mean? That's what makes art is the fact that a human created it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Once you decide that you're going to automate that somehow electronically and have a robot create art, it's no longer like art exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I feel like it's a creation by a robot. That's fine as creation, but
we create as an outlet. That's why we create. We write as an outlet. We create as an outlet. So we won't do anything stupid. You know what I mean? That's what we're supposed to do as humans. We're supposed to create. There has to be a point where you got to put your foot down and be like, nah, that's unacceptable. When you have AI creating scripts, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, see,
ridiculous.
Well, I know Tom Hanks and Harrison Ford have done it. I think Bruce Willis has done it too. They've agreed and have signed and got paid to have their faces scanned and enough of their audio taken from their voices to where they will hopefully have ways of making putting them in films years after they're gone at any age as well. And so I saw some interview with some lady who was talking about the future of the industry, and she was talking about no longer we will be able to log into a streaming service, and the idea is saying I want to see a rom-com with Tom Cruise and Meryl Streep, and because of how these programs are going to be built, they'll be able to literally generate a movie that's been written and generated, right there on the fly. So no longer are you going to be subscribing to networks of services. You'll be subscribing to actors, and that's the only way they'll be able to get their money. So the way we have add-ons on games and with our the cosmetics in the games, it's I'm selected with this genre of movie types, and I'm also subscribed to Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. That means I can generate Tom Cruise and any kind, I want to see Tom Cruise as Superman, and it'll do it. I mean, that's literally what they're describing as what the future is looking like. And it's just and it's really, I'm sorry, I'm on my soapbox about this, but it's kind of concerning, because it is happening, right here in front of us. We see all these videos on the gram and stuff where they make, Elvis, sing about, the Anaconda song. And it's just have it sing the Anaconda song. It's funny, but it's just oh
no.
Anyway.
Oh yeah. But before we go, I just want to know how people can reach you. I start off with Queen G. Yeah. By the way, congratulations, Queen G, on your YouTube channel.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
That I started it, or
well, now you started it, now it's monetized, and you got a certain number of subscribers and everything, so that's cool.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. Queen G22 across the board. Actually, no, it's the Queen G22. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. Twitter, or is it still Twitter or is it X now? Is that just a logo? I've always been curious about that.
It's I think it's still called Twitter, but they just changed the logo to an X instead of that bird.
Oh, okay. And on
Yes.
Twitter.
Yes. Nice. What about you, my friend? Exile.
Exile on Instagram. You can reach out to me there. If anybody wants to reach out to me there, that's basically kind of more so mainly what I'm using right now. So yeah, I'm not really on Twitter. I'm sorry. Instagram is mainly the best way to actually reach me.
Yeah.
So yeah, Exile on Instagram.
Exile. And what about you, Cowabunga Mike?
Facebook and Instagram. Just look me
Nice.
up under Shane Dempsey.
Right on. And Brookston?
I mean, I'm just a regular Joe. If you really want to get a hold of me, then just type in Brookston on Facebook, and I'm not that hard to find.
All right. But thanks, guys, for your time, and thank you for being a part of the show. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for having us, man.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.